The following 5 clips in this video span from the XRP community, the XDC community, Flare, and Twitter. All of their Twitter handles are in the description, and these clips have never been published. We start off with the SEC versus Ripple case with Sherrie, and then the absolute best account to follow on Twitter for the fact-based Ripple company updates, Kahneman. And then Crispe, a craftsman who is very, very skilled. He is combining the digital world and the phygital world, followed by Jon McVie, talking about a TradFi project on XDC. Someone I'm going to meet in person this August in Austin at the very first XDC conference. And then winding it up with Nick Williams of Zungible, a decentralized social media application with multi-chain NFTs. Enjoy. Is what your thoughts are on a possible appeal, because the possibility of that appeal is seemingly real and it's being talked about more often than ever. Tell us what your thoughts are.
To put very simply, I do believe that it is going to happen. From Ripple's point of view, it's been more recent that that Ripple came out and said that should the SEC win, they have every intention of appealing it. So that lets at least me know that they're going to throw this down. They're not going to take a loss. Okay, the SEC is going to try to halt any and everything they can if they don't get their way. So it's not a far stretch to say, yeah, they're more than likely going to file this appeal. They don't take losses because regulation by enforcement is their MO, not regulation by loss.
So as J.W. Verrett said when he met with John Deaton, that he thought that the SEC might be afraid of knowing that the possible dragging out of this would end up in the Supreme Court. So do you think, so it's not a detriment to their motivation, you think? Do they actually see themselves as being okay to get to that level within this fight?
This actually goes beyond Gensler at this point, because he only takes the SEC as the baseline, only takes on that first level. The higher courts, this is where we enter the Solicitor General. And the Solicitor General, I believe it's Preglar, I'm butchering her name here. She's the one that would take it over, and there has been documented meetings between her and Gensler. So if this is going to play out, it's going to take time. And what does Congress need, if anything? They need time. So now we're going into conspiracy and what could do and who could do what. But looking at the facts that are in front of us is that the SEC so far doesn't seem overly concerned with seeing this case finish anytime quickly. You know, many viewers and people that are following the case would have seen that if there was ever a delay to be had or an extension to be filed, the SEC was right there to do it each and every time. Why would they change their course now?
Right. I have the Wrathman with me. This is Wrath of Kahneman, and I'm just really, really thrilled to be able to have this moment with him and then share it with you, because we're going to talk about some subjects that are going on in the XRP community. And the first thing I want to do, though, Wrath, is ask you, how did you come up with this name?
Well, hello. Thanks. Glad to be here. You know, my name is really just a terrible dad joke. So my only intersection with business and investing came from a psychologist named Daniel Kahneman, who wrote a book called Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow, talked about common fallacies in decision making. And so when I decided to get on Twitter and whatnot, I thought, oh yeah, I got to remember to make good decisions. And then it came to me like, oh, that's a terrible pun. Thinking of the movie The Wrath of Khan from Star Trek. And so for better or worse, it stuck.
Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo, and I have Crispe with me today. This is someone who's going to tell you how he's using the technology, and I think it'll be fun because we've got a lot of opportunity for people just like him to leverage the technology and bring your art form into a whole new world. So Crispe, welcome.
Thank you, Eddie. It's very good to be here.
You should tell everybody, what are you doing?
So yeah, I'm an acoustic guitar builder. I started building acoustic guitars in 2010. I got a job at a guitar factory in San Luis Obispo, California, called National Resophonic Guitars. Worked there for about 7 years. From the beginning to the end, I started building the fretboards there, and then eventually evolved into doing custom inlay work and became the custom shop head by the time I left. And there at National, I met acoustic guitar builder Mike Baranick. And, I kind of we became friends, just talking at the shop. He used to have his workspace, which used to be right by National. So he would frequent the shop a lot. And I kind of asked him if I could see his shop, and went up there and, prodded a little more and said, hey, what do I got to do to get into this? And he told me an apprenticeship, and he offered me the apprenticeship right on the spot there. So I took it. And from there, I apprenticed with him for about 2.5 years. 2.5, 3 years, somewhere in between there. And yeah, now I'm just on my own, and I'm trying to make my way through the space of crypto, just because I'm really passionate about the technology, and I really do believe that it's here to stay, and it can benefit anyone who has an artistic ability, or even just a new idea to harness this new technology. So essentially what I'm doing now is I'm taking my acoustic guitar building skills and merging it with NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So essentially I will have an NFT made that will be paired with a acoustic guitar. And it could be custom themed. For the first one that I did a collaboration with Johnny Lawrence, and we just dropped that NFT called Reborn on Flare Finance. And it's a XRP themed NFT with an XRP themed acoustic guitar. So I have a Phoenix inlay on the guitar and fire and flame imagery, all throughout. I made sure I, really, really tried to capture the essence of fire and flame in the guitar. And Johnny's NFT is just absolutely stunning. He just knocked it out of the park like usual. So basically from there, I would like to create an entire community and a new project where people can use my native token, which is going to be the C note, and it's going to be a governance token, which will allow people to vote on materials used, stylistic designs for acoustic guitars, themes for acoustic guitars, and then basically, after the voting's all done, I will build that guitar. I'm calling this a Crispe community build. So I'll be doing maybe 1 or 2 a year, depending on time, because it is pretty time consuming to build an acoustic guitar. But that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And I really just want to share how really cool it is to build an acoustic guitar, because for me, I fell in love with woodworking when I started working at National. In all honesty, I got a job there about 3 years after I graduated high school. So I really had very limited woodworking experience. But it just called to me. I love trees and I love being in nature. So woodworking was just something that just kind of, really sat well with me. And after working there, seeing all the beautiful instruments that came out of that shop, it just inspired me. So essentially I just stuck to it and really dove in. And 12 years later, here I am building my own acoustic guitars and tying it into the crypto space, and trying to get more people involved to learn about the trade of guitar building, instrument building, because there's so much that goes into it that I couldn't explain to you in 4 hours about all the different things that you need to do to get a complete acoustic guitar.
More recently, a new token's been created on our network called Trada. Trada is another token, and this one's a fungible token. It's not an NFT, and it's also backed by trade finance assets. And it's really interesting the way it works. It involves invoice factoring. And so what it does is it creates a yield generating opportunity for investors to come buy Trada, gain exposure to invoices that are created through trade finance, and basically get access to trade finance as part of their investment portfolio, which is brand new to retail investors. Typically, you have to have either be connected to a big bank or have a high net value to be able to get access to this trade finance asset class. But that's all changed now. So the way it works is Trade Tech, which is a non-bank originator. What they'll do is buy invoices from shippers. And so the shipper makes the good, they ship it, they send out an invoice, but sometimes it can take months to get payment against the invoice. Now the shipper may want to get access to the funds earlier than 3 months from now, so they can build more things and ship them. So what they'll do is they'll sell the invoice for the goods that are in transit, and they'll sell it at a discount. And so in this case, that invoice gets purchased and put in a basket of invoices. And Trada is actually backed by that basket of invoices. And over time, the invoices come due, they get paid in full. And now there's a yield, right? Because they were purchased at a discount, they come in paid in full. And then that yield goes to the investors that hold Trada. And so that gives people like you and me, well, not me because I'm in the US, but people who wouldn't typically have access to it, the ability to gain access to this very low risk asset class.
Yeah, it significantly improves the velocity of money. But I had them on the channel and I was so impressed with the business model. It really stood out. You can imagine how many different business models I see, but that one really stood out.
Oh yeah, it's a great use case for blockchain. And I guess there's another side to the coin too, which is we're talking about, where we're talking about freeing up money for the entities involved on the trade finance side, right? But what we can also look at doing in the future is democratizing how that money gets allocated. So typically trade finance is locked away to really big companies and really big banks. And what something like Trada can do eventually is make it so that smaller companies that are typically locked out of typical trade finance gain access to the funds. And so now people like you and me are able to support smaller companies in underserved parts of the world so that they can participate in trade finance, they can grow, and really just democratize how trade finance functions.
Yeah, I personally was impressed with the low risk, but the ability to generate that yield.
Yep, exactly right. And I mean, honestly, there aren't a lot of really good use cases for blockchain, but I think that's one of them. I mean, there's a handful of great use cases. A lot of times blockchain tends to be a solution looking for a problem, right? And you see a lot of memes out there that really shouldn't have the value that they have. But I have a lot of faith in this use case. I think it's a solid use case for blockchain.
Absolutely.
My name is Nick Williams. I'm the CEO and founder of Zungible. It's a decentralized social media application with multi-chain NFTs. So what we're offering is a bit of a twist on conventional social media. We have a user experience and a user interface that users would become, very used to and are accustomed to. We can, offer following, likes, comments, private messages, stories, and all of the things that you would see on conventional social media. And of the 4.7 billion users of social media, they would find it, pretty much usual. The unusual side is, or the different side is, that we're incorporating DLT, distributed ledger technology, non-fungible tokens, and combining all these technologies to advance social media into a social media 3.0, as we like to call it. So everything would seem reasonably normal from the outside. When you come to log in, you would log in with your crypto wallet. you know, the safety in that, and you don't require your personal data to log in, and it's all very crisp and clean. And then we would come to your posting. Now the twist is that all of the posts are NFTs. So you would mint on a blockchain of your choice. We have several blockchains. We have Ethereum, Polygon, and XRPL NFTs. And once you hit the post button, it would take you through the mint flow, and you can mint that as an NFT and offer that for sale. So it's very different to what you would usually get with a social media application. But as I say, it's gonna move the space forward and combine all of these technologies to normalize what you and I consider normal in crypto.